Mona Lisa was called Mona for short. She was bright, restless, and always in motion. She raced through the village paths, climbed palm trees, and laughed louder than anyone. But her joy faded whenever her eyes drifted to the sea. The ocean, with its endless horizon and crashing waves, was her nightmare. This fear set her apart in Montu. Montu was a proud village, built on fishing. Every morning, boats returned with nets heavy from the sea. The air smelled of salt and smoke from the fires where fish were dried. People from other villages crossed long distances just to trade with Montu. Their bounty was unmatched, and so was their reputation for keeping the waters safe. The hunters of Montu were more than fishermen, they were guardians. For every school of fish, there was a predator, lurking shark-like beasts with teeth like knives, serpents that coiled around boats, creatures born from the deep. Montu's hunters fought them back, carrying scars as proof of their bravery. Mona's father, Maoli, was the greatest of them all. He had faced monsters that haunted legends. His name carried weight, spoken with pride and respect. To him, the ocean was not only food and trade, it was strength, destiny, and honor. And he wanted Mona to inherit that. She was his eldest, the child he believed could carry his spirit forward. But Mona's fear ran deep. She froze at the shoreline, unable to step closer, the sound of waves quickening her breath. Her mother often shielded her from Mauli's insistence, but he never gave up. In his eyes, fear was weakness. When Mona turned 18, tradition gave her no escape. In Montu, 18 meant adulthood, and adulthood meant facing the sea. That morning, Mauli's decision was final. Mona would come with him. Her protests, and even her mother's tears, fell away like pebbles in the tide. The ship that carried them was vast, built for battles on the water. Its sails stretched high, its deck crowded with ropes, nets, and harpoons. Hunters filled the boat with steady hands and sharp eyes, their voices rising in chants as the vessel pushed into open water. The ship carried them far from shore, its heavy sails catching the wind. The hunters moved across the deck with practiced ease, their voices rising in chants that matched the rhythm of the waves. Mona stayed close to the mast, where her father had told her to remain. "There, you won't get in the way," he had said. And though she hated the words, she clung to the thick ropes tied there as if they were the only solid thing left in her world. The sea stretched endless and merciless around her. Each rise and fall of the ship made her stomach twist. She wished more than anything to be back on land, her feet planted firmly on sand instead of sliding across wet wood. Then the water shifted. A deep shadow swept under the hull. The waves grew restless, swirling with sudden force. Without warning, the surface split open. From below rose a creature that turned the ocean into chaos. It was massive, like a shark but far larger, its body gleaming with blue scales that caught the sunlight. Rows of jagged teeth flashed as it lunged, striking the side of the ship with a shudder that rattled every board. The hunters roared into action, nets unfurled, harpoons flew, and men rushed to the rails. The boat groaned and tilted under the assault. Spray lashed the deck, drenching Mona's face. She clung harder to the mast, heart slamming in her chest. The air was filled with shouts, wood cracking, and the thunder of waves. The beast rammed the ship again. The deck pitched sharply. Mona's grip slipped. Her hands, wet with seawater, slid down the rope. She tried to catch hold again, but the ship lurched violently, throwing her off balance. The world tilted. The mast spun away from her grasp. She saw her father's hand reaching for her, heard his voice cut through the chaos, but the wall tilted sharply. The mast slipped from her grip. Her feet slid across wet wood, and then she was falling. The sea struck her like stone. Cold swallowed her whole. She sank fast, the ship shrinking above her, the monster circling near. Her lungs burned as she fought for air. Then everything went black.